Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the channel. Today we have an update video. I'm going to be talking about the latest Nintendo Direct leaks. So some of you guys might be familiar with this. I actually came across this a couple of days ago and I immediately dismissed it because the leak seemed way too good to be true, like absolutely out of this world. You know, crazy good. So obviously you're gonna have to take everything you see here with a grain of salt. However, I also wanted to talk about Nintendo Switch Pro. So I have no doubt in my mind that Nintendo at some point in the future, maybe not this year, maybe not next year, but at some point in time, Nintendo is going to be coming out with Nintendo Switch Pro. It's not to say that anything is wrong with the current Nintendo Switch, but obviously for this day and age, it's a little bit outdated. It could be better, and Nintendo have sold tens of millions of these things. I myself have bought in like 20 Nintendo Switches. Don't ask me if I bought them for myself. Obviously, I didn't. I only have this one Nintendo Switch that I own and I bought the day it came out, and I've never bought another Switch for myself. But the rest of them I bought either for fans or for family members or friends. So that's how much I love the Nintendo Switch. But it's time for them to come out with a new Nintendo Switch, and I'm not talking about Nintendo Switch Lite. I know that came out like last year, I think in 2019 or 2018. I don't remember. It's because I don't care really about Nintendo Switch Lite. I saw it and it didn't appeal to me at all. It definitely is a downgrade to Nintendo Switch. If you have a Nintendo Switch Lite, I'm not dissing you, but you should have gotten a Nintendo Switch, because just by paying just a small difference in price, you could have had this but docked, and you could have had the ability to remove the Joy-Cons and place other Joy-Cons on them. Essentially, what would a Nintendo Switch Pro be? A Nintendo Switch Pro would be obviously a updated Nintendo Switch, probably a bigger screen maybe. I feel like the Nintendo Switch in itself is a little too small. I mean, for me, it's good size. I mean, I think this is how big is the display exactly? Let me see. I would say it's literally about like, okay, 6.2 inches. There you go. And it's a 720p display. Come on. So you got a 720p display on this, and then obviously it doesn't play video games in 60 FPS. If you wanted to enjoy 1080p 60 FPS gaming, you'd have to dock it. So that's one thing that Nintendo Switch Lite lacks, of course, and you'll never be able to experience any of the games you play in 1080p or 60 FPS, especially if you're downloading them on your Nintendo Switch. You're stuck playing them forever in 720p 30 FPS, and you're not taking advantage of the Nintendo Switch completely. And on top of that, I would love to see, obviously, with a better GPU, because it's kind of garbage on this. Like, even when you play it docked, you know, it's still not good enough. Like, some of the games lag, especially like games like Breath of the Wild. You go to certain areas in that game and the game gets really, really laggy. I don't like that at all. It's actually quite disappointing, especially for Nintendo's latest and greatest console. So that's why I feel like we're in need of a Nintendo Switch Pro. And this is really, really reaching for it, but maybe 4K support. Obviously, I feel like that's not gonna happen if Nintendo came out with Nintendo Switch Pro, because of the fact that there aren't any games that Nintendo release in 4K, so it's actually quite pointless for them to make their console in 4K. But still, you know, if we're dreaming here and we're talking about a dream Nintendo Switch, then yeah, I'd love to see a 4K display on that, at least, you know, 4K support rather on, you know, TV and whatnot, because everybody at this point I feel like has a 4K TV. Now, going to these leaks, Nintendo Life actually posted an article about this. My friend's uncle who works at Nintendo told me they revealed the name of Breath of the Wild 2, and I think it was something along the lines of the Echoes of the Past, something like that. And I remember when I saw that, I'm like, there's no way that's the name of Breath of the Wild 2. But go ahead and take a look right here, guys. You got internal use only. So Nintendo Direct 01/11/2021. Essentially, that's Monday. That's 2 days from today, or a day from when you're watching this video. You're watching this on a Saturday. Monday is the day after tomorrow. We haven't heard anything yet. Nintendo haven't posted anything on their Twitter page about any directs coming out. Usually they'll post like at least a week in advance. Hey, we're making a direct, or there's a direct on this day. They're not just gonna up and suddenly give us a direct without our knowledge. They want people to prepare for it. They want people to live stream it. They want people talking about it, writing about it, because it builds hype. So take a look here. The crazy craziness. So hardware, you got the first look / trailer showcase, Nintendo Switch Pro, which is set to be released on April 23rd, 2021. 4K TV support, Dock Pro, Joy-Con Pro. I don't know what Dock Pro is or Joy-Con Pro is. Maybe the Dock Pro would be a beefier dock to allow 4K support. That's the only thing that I could think of. I think Joy-Con Pros might be beefier Joy-Cons that have way better wireless connection, because everyone knows that if you try to play anything with the even if you have the Joy-Con grip, for example, and you're sitting like right here, and then I'm trying to play on my TV back there, the Joy-Cons are absolute garbage. Like, I realized this within the first 2 days of buying Nintendo Switch, and I wasn't originally going to buy a Pro controller. I really wasn't. I was actually content with just the Joy-Con grip and the Joy-Cons, but I was sitting like maybe 10 feet away from my TV, and Nintendo Switch was on it, on the dock next to my TV stand. Literally, I couldn't play anything and enjoy it because the Joy-Cons would just start doing whatever they wanted to do, or they disconnect. And then I realized at that point, this is garbage. I have to buy a Pro controller. So maybe Joy-Con Pros are like, again, like I said, beefier up Joy-Cons. And then, like it says right here, Bluetooth audio support, which is something that I wish they had. Obviously, they don't have it on this. I thought they did, but they don't. I could be wrong though. I do remember trying to like set up my Bluetooth headphones on this, but it doesn't work. Yeah, so let me see. Bluetooth. Yeah, there's no such thing as Bluetooth here. And then you got NVIDIA DLSS 2.0, which I'm assuming is the latest NVIDIA GPU, I think. What would that be? Yeah, CPU, GPU. And then look at the price, bro. Look at the price. The price is nuts. $399 for all that. That is a steal. Honestly, that is a steal. I would buy like 10 of these things, honestly. I'd buy like 10 of these things and just give them away, because that is a steal if it's really that cheap. And now, scrolling down, you have a first-party softwares. You got Nintendo World Park Tour. So essentially, in my opinion, when I saw that, I'm like, okay, Nintendo Land 2.0, but for the Nintendo Switch. Mario Kart 9. I don't know. That seems a little too far-fetched. Splatoon 3. Way too far-fetched. Super Mario Odyssey 2. Way too far-fetched. Like, come on. This is crazy. Fire Emblem Echoes. So, Fire Emblem Echoes and Breath of the Wild Echoes of the Past. I mean, they're obviously unoriginal here with their names. And then Metroid Resurgence. So everything that we've been crying for the last couple of years now, suddenly now 2021 is going to be the year where they grace us with all these things. And then you scroll down, you got third-party softwares. You got Kingdom Hearts, Destiny's Embrace, Bayonetta 3, Shin Megami Tensei, and then you got Assassin's Creed Valhalla, Capcom Resident Evil 2, Grand Theft Auto 5, Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War, Final Fantasy VII Remake, and then down here, obviously I don't think any of these would be coming out on Nintendo Switch at all. I don't even know how many of these games are even, I know like Grand Theft Auto, of course, Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War, but I just can't see them being out on Switch. Maybe Call of Duty at some point, I don't know though. Anyways, going down here, you got upcoming Nintendo Switch Pro and Nintendo Switch games. Crash Bandicoot 4, you know, Fall Guys. I could see Fall Guys coming to Switch. Let me see, Plants vs. Zombies. And interesting thing here, they actually do say, oh, look at that. So down here it says, no, now we're not saying it's suspect that this document has no original games on it, nor are we saying it's strange that Nintendo would print a list with bad grammar, Plants vs. Zombies. So obviously the grammar here is incorrect. But what did they say about Breath of the Wild 2? Of course, the biggest reveal is saved for the last. Does it actually say it on this thing? Oh yeah, The Legend of Zelda Echoes of the Past. Okay, so, which apparently will be called Legend of Zelda Echoes of the Past, talking about Breath of the Wild 2 here. We really thought it was going to be called Smell of the Wild, but we're also happy to be proved wrong. Yeah, I don't know, man. It just seems way too good to be true, obviously. And even here in Nintendo's Life article, they're kind of calling it a very suspicious leak. They don't seem to believe in any of this stuff either. I know we were wrong back in the day. Like, for example, in 2018, this stands out to me very vividly because they were talking about how Isabelle is coming to Smash. We were talking about Animal Crossing coming to Switch. They were also talking about Luigi's Mansion 3. And I remember when I heard these things, I'm like, I don't believe in that until I see it. Boom, Nintendo Direct they announced all of these things, and I was absolutely mind blown because I'm like, the leaks, they turned out to be true. But everybody kind of was talking about it as well. This seems way too good to be true. Absolutely way too good to be true. But it would make sense almost that Nintendo would do something like this if they were indeed releasing a Nintendo Switch Pro, because of the fact that they're releasing all these amazing first-party titles, and then you got awesome third-party softwares as well. However, like I said, it just seems way too good to be true. But like I said, the reason I believe Nintendo Switch Pro is eventually going to come out is because when you look back just at the 3DS family, you had the original 3DS that we all knew and loved. This is my white Nintendo 3DS. And then from there, we evolved into the 3DS XL, the first Nintendo 3DS XL that I ever bought in my life. And then from there, we moved on to the new Nintendo 3DS XL. And then we also had the Nintendo 2DS as well. So the way I'm looking at this, right, is let's pretend this here would be Nintendo Switch. You got Nintendo Switch. This would be Nintendo Switch Lite. And then this would be Nintendo Switch Pro. So you'd get obviously better specs, a better display, and a better design. But overall, it would be the same thing. So I have hope. I really do have hope. And I'm just hoping that it comes out this year. I'm not really in dire need of a new Nintendo Switch. My Nintendo Switch works perfectly fine, and I'm absolutely in love with it. You know, it's my favorite console I own. I literally have I have a Xbox One S, and then I have a PlayStation 4. I never turn them on ever because the only thing that I play is my Nintendo Switch. And you know, I would totally love to get my hands on a Nintendo Switch Pro, so then that way I can turn this one into like my backup Switch, because I don't have a backup Switch at all, and it does kind of stress me out a little bit. What if something happens to this? Because obviously docking it in and out, recording all of my games on it and taking it with me when I travel, but it's proven the test of time. About 1,000+ hours of gaming on this device, putting all the recording in it, everything that I've done on this device, and it still works like a beast, thank God. So yeah, Nintendo Switch Pro would be nice, honestly, to have. Let me know what your thoughts are about Nintendo Switch Pro. Would you get it if it does come out, especially for the price of $399? Like I said, that to me is a steal. For all of the things that are listed right here, to get it for $399, that is truly a steal, honestly. And then about the Nintendo Direct leaks, I don't believe in the Nintendo Direct leaks at all, to be honest. But hopefully we get some Nintendo Switch Pro news, and the moment we get a little whiff of anything Nintendo Switch Pro related, I will make an update video talking about it. And hopefully when it does come out, I will showcase it on my channel, maybe do a giveaway, giving away a couple of these bad boys to you guys, obviously, because, you know, I love giving away stuff, especially Nintendo stuff. I mean, that's pretty much most of the stuff I've given away in my YouTube career were Nintendo games or Nintendo Switches. I've given a lot of Switches away back in 2019. I was doing like monthly Nintendo Switch giveaways on my Instagram. And I gave away so many in 2017 and 2018 as well. I'll never forget, because I had boxes and people were like, what are these Switches for? I'm like, for my YouTube subscribers. But yeah, anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you all enjoyed this video. Let me know what your thoughts are about the Nintendo Direct leaks and Nintendo Switch Pro down in the comment section below. Don't forget to drop a like, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.